Go. All right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Grishelle Hippolito,
And my name is Julie Calliston.
and we are part of MHC's Behavioral Health Committee. And today we're going to be giving a presentation on maintaining healthy routines in a post-pandemic lifestyle.
All right, so first we're going to go over the agenda. So the first thing we're going to discuss is COVID-19 restriction updates. And then next is how to deal with new and upcoming feelings regarding these lack of restrictions and these restriction updates, and then how you may forget your past routines because of the new lifestyle changes, and then solutions on how to remember past routines or how to shift into a new lifestyle regarding the restrictions being lifted because of COVID-19. All right.
Okay, so we first want to share a few things on what we can all expect in terms of recent news on COVID restrictions being lifted in California around June 15th. Again, these are just the current updates and they can still be subject to change, but as of right now, we can expect to see lifted restrictions on capacity or lifted restrictions on the maximum number of people that can be in places like restaurants, stores, etc. Also lifted physical/social distancing requirements in most businesses. Most recently, also, San Francisco moved to the yellow tier, which is the least restrictive tier in the color-coded system, but we can expect to see the removal of the color-coded tier system overall. And finally, fully vaccinated people won't be expected or required to wear masks in almost all settings and places except for airports, airplanes, buses, trains, and transit stations. But I do want to just emphasize that you'll still have the option to wear a mask if you choose, if that's what makes you comfortable. And they're still highly, highly recommended, especially for your safety and protection if you're not fully vaccinated yet.
Mhm.
Okay, so now after hearing some of these updates on what we can expect moving forward, I just wanted to ask this question to everyone. If you'd like to share some of your thoughts and feelings in the chat, or even just think or reflect with yourself. But the question is, how does this new normal make you feel? How are you feeling about restrictions being lifted? So for me personally, even though I'm really eager and excited to see more family and friends safely, of course, I am still feeling, worried with everything changing so quickly. And I know I might still feel uncomfortable being in crowded places. So I definitely will still be wearing a mask whenever I do go out just for my own comfort. How about you, Julie?
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm really excited now that a lot of people are getting vaccinated to see like my Lola and Lolo. But the lift of restrictions on masks does make me a little nervous. So I think I'm going to be wearing a mask still until I feel comfortable with it. And then also now that like we're able to see more people and I'm able to go back to work, it's very different from like working from home or always staying home. So I'm still trying to find that balance of like how do I go about my day now, and how do I take care of myself, and how do I adjust or adapt? So hopefully through this presentation, a lot of people will be able to kind of learn how to adapt to these lack of restrictions or these updates in society. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Julie. Again, if you'd like to share in the chat, feel free. But we're going to go ahead and talk a bit about some of the emotions that you may be feeling and just a few examples of when you might be feeling this way or situationals of when you might be feeling this way. So to start, some emotions that you may be experiencing with restrictions being lifted are stress, or anxiety, which is a lot of uncontrollable worry or nervousness, prolonged grief, and this can be, feeling of loss, whether that be from the loss of a loved one or people around us due to the pandemic, or even just grieving over pre-pandemic lifestyles and things that you may have had to miss out on due to the pandemic this past year. And then fatigue, which is feeling overtired or exhausted from spending so long in the pandemic lifestyle this past year, and that can lead to feeling like helpless and less motivated. And then we want to share a couple of examples. So, when might you be feeling this way? Again, these are just a couple of examples, but one is feeling nervous or uneasy or uncomfortable in crowded spaces, as we've talked about, at the grocery store, restaurants, if you go to church, just walking around in the streets, on the bus, and so on. Because again, with the lifted restrictions, less physical distancing, some people might not be wearing masks, and it's very easy to feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Um, and then worrying about other family members or friends or any loved ones and their safety and health when they go out. So even if you take your own precautions, just having that feeling of worry when your loved ones start to go out more and more. So, what could these emotions feel like physically in our body? What are some things that we could be experiencing when we feel these emotions? Again, these are just a couple of examples. It may not be everything, but a few are trouble sleeping, changes in appetite, rapid breathing or shortness of breath, increased heart rate or chest pain, sweating, trembling and shaking, or headaches.
All right. So now that we've identified emotions that we may be having as restrictions are being lifted, here are some behavioral changes that can be caused. That can be caused due to the change of environment. So one of them is forgetting medication. Because we can go outside more and we're not as often inside as often as we used to be, our morning or nightly routines may be different. So forgetting medication sounds really simple, but if we keep forgetting to take our medication, it can lead to some serious consequences. So it's important to remember to take our medication or necessary vitamins either before leaving the house or before going to bed. Another one is less time with family. So now that restrictions have lifted and some of us may be going to work now, this means commuting or traveling to and from workplaces every day or frequently throughout the week. So due to a new and busy schedule, it may be difficult to balance work and time with family. Because of this, we may not realize the lack of time we spend with family. The third one is not getting enough sleep or rest. So this is similar to spending less time with family because of our new routines or changes. So whether it be going to work, being able to run more errands now for like your family or for yourself or for other family friends, or even just taking care of children. So whether you're like a Lola or a Lolo taking care of your grandkids or your other family members, it can be a lot. And being able to go outside, we may be doing more things than usual. So we might not be getting enough sleep or enough time to rest or relax as we used to when we would just always stay inside the house. So sleep is important in order to function. So while routines are changing, like one should be able to prioritize sleep or have enough sleep or rest at the end of the day. So the next day we can feel rested and recharged and we can do the same things and see the people that we love again. So, and then the fourth one is forgetting to pray or meditate. So, being able to pray or meditate is one way we can clear our minds. I know in Filipino culture, many of us are religious, and praying is one way to reflect on what is going on in our lives. Now that restrictions are lifted, life can become hectic now, and we may forget smaller habits such as praying, meditations, or just taking time for ourselves to kind of reflect on what happened throughout the day. Because honestly, we may feel like there isn't enough time in the day to do everything. So sometimes we just have to prioritize and remember to pray or meditate. So the lack of these four yet simple yet effective actions can cause us to feel really tired or drained as time goes on, because these four actions are ways that we can take care of ourselves. So the feeling of being tired or stressed over time due to not taking proper care of ourselves is called burnout. So what is burnout? I know a lot of us may have not heard of burnout, so I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you. Burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion brought on by prolonged or repeated stress. It is similar to many of the feelings we identified earlier, such as stress, anxiety, tiredness, or fatigue. So when someone has burnout, they may not not be getting enough sleep. They may not be eating well. They may be short on patience, or they may be emotionally detached from activities, families, or friends. So not doing the things that they usually love to do or being with the people that they usually like to hang out with. But however, burnout is very common, especially when we tend to overwork ourselves and not take care of ourselves enough, which is very common in Filipino culture. So how can we prevent burnout? Some simple actions are by taking time to rest, enjoying hobbies that make you happy, and creating healthy habits. So in other words, prevent these unwanted feelings by creating a routine that works best for you. All right. So now that we're learning more on how to prevent these negative feelings, especially now that we've really identified them and kind of have let them sit for a while, Grishelle and I have identified 3 important steps that can help in creating a more helpful and healthy everyday routine. So the first one is putting yourself first. I know that because of restrictions lifting and everyone getting vaccinated, we're all very excited to see family, friends, and loved ones. Additionally, we may be more inclined to take care of everyone, such as grandchildren, parents, and other relatives we haven't been able to see during the pandemic. But just because you are taking care of others does not mean you cannot take care of yourself. So it's important to schedule time for yourself, whether it be sleeping, eating, exercising, running errands, or doing absolutely nothing. Take care of your body by doing what makes you happy. The second one is setting reminders. So I know I can be really forgetful when it comes to things such as taking daily medication or even remembering to do certain errands, such as going to the grocery store, picking up a couple of things. Setting reminders on my phone or even like writing down a list of things that I have to do during the day helps me stay on track and helps me remember what I need to do in order to take care of myself. So for example, I set reminders in the morning to take my medication, and then I set a reminder at night to either stop and like pray, meditate, reflect on my day, or just to stop working and go to bed. That helps me set a bedtime so I don't end up being cranky or tired every time I wake up in the morning. And then the third one, I think, is our favorite, which is switch up your routine. We don't have to create one routine, and we don't have to be super strict on a routine. By switching up your routine, I think this will help like spice things up in life. For example, some days a week can be really busy and reserved for work, like you got to go to work. But then other days can kind of be easy and you don't have to do a lot of things as planned. So for instance, maybe you used to work out every day, but you can't because now you have to commute to work. So how do we adjust to this routine and lifestyle changes? So maybe we might want to work out every other day. Maybe we change the time of when we want to work out. And maybe we set aside time to just work out on a different schedule. And that's totally okay, because as long as you're prioritizing and managing your time well and putting yourself first, then it still leads to a healthy routine and lifestyle. So while work is important, it's also important to take advantage of your weekends or free days to go do something fun. So such as seeing family, friends, or going outside. All right. And then here are a couple of reminders that we want to end the presentation with. So even though the world is changing, doesn't mean our whole lives have to. We can still adapt to new changes while putting ourselves and our health first. And then so that is the end of our presentation. Grishelle and I are really happy that you guys are listening and that are participating, and we hope you learned a lot and are able to live a healthy lifestyle while being able to enjoy the new freedoms of the lifted restrictions safely. Salamat!
Salamat!
All right. Yay! Okay.